Hello beautiful people, you're welcome back to today's video. It's been a while and I'm so glad to be back on here. I am so sorry for the delay in posting the long version videos, but I hope you've been enjoying my short for the time being. So a quick one, this was what I was busy doing when earthquake hit Thailand in March. So yeah, I was in my room unbothered until all of that started happening. And it was so sad that some lives were lost in the process, but yeah, we thank God that everything became stable again. So back to today's tutorial. This is just another way in which I use in stretching my hair. After washing, I just make sure I pack it with those hair bands, and then my hair does not break afterwards. So I'm gonna be showing you the tools and materials I used for this hairstyle, African threading. The only difference with this one is that it has some gaps, and that's why it's called African threading some gaps. So these are my combs, and then I had some beads, I have my scissors, and then I have the thread, I have my leave-in conditioner, and then this to seal it in the hair butter. So I'm gonna cut the thread into two. At first I started cutting it into two, but then I noticed that the thread is thick on its own, so I could use this. But if yours is not as thick as this, because there are different kinds of it in the market, so if it's not as thick as this, then you can do it just like I've done it. Or if it's as thick as this, you can just use it like that, like one. You don't have to tie it together. You're gonna see that eventually I used it just as it is. So yeah, I'm parting my hair. I actually showed the hair process here. I showed you the process in which I started parting my hair. So I used the brick layering method so that it fall on one another, so it doesn't have too much gaps in between them. So just enjoy the parting process. So this would be a guide for you if you're trying or struggling to part your hair. Okay, so I love parting my front part of the hair, probably because this is easier for me to reach than trying to part the back of my hair. So yeah, I just do my normal center parting, even though I need to start doing the half parting because I don't want to be bad in the center of my hair. So yeah, I started counting how many partings I have, and by the time I counted, I had 20 altogether. And I think that's a very good one. I was so excited about that. And then I started taking out the twist I made and started doing my threading. So for the threading, normally you do it like the normal threading, but then we call it some gaps for a reason. So you make sure that there are some gaps, but before that I twist my hair like twice or three times so that the roots can be firm, and then I start threading. So make sure that there are some gaps, and then you just use your hand to fluff out your hair, because fussy hair, it starts shrinking, but then you fluff it out and then start threading again. Thread, make sure there is a gap, thread, a gap, thread, then a gap. Then at the end of it, you just make sure you secure it tightly with a knot. You also use the threads to make the knot, and then that's it. Simple, right? Good. Then I just decided to use the bead just to make sure that it has some beauties, or just to make sure that everything pops out well. I'm gonna show you how to add your beads easily. Okay, so with this strand of hair, I'm gonna show you how I did it from the start and then to the finishing where you put the bead. So I twist it twice or 3 times just to make sure that the root is firm, and then I put the thread. As you can see, the thread right here that I'm using is just one, like single one, because as I started threading, I noticed that the threading is already thick, so I don't have to tie it together to make it double. But if you notice that your thread is not thick enough, then you can tie it together. But if it's thick, then you can just use a single one like this. You can just use a single. So yeah, you make sure that there are some gaps, and then you fluff out your hair, you stretch it out, and then you thread again. Some gap, thread, gap, thread, gap, thread. Yeah, that's it. And then you tie it with a knot at the end so that it doesn't unravel. And then you insert your beads if you want some beads in there, and then you wrap your thread at the last bead there. Even if it's just one, you wrap it there, and then you tie the knots again, just as you can see in this video, just as I am doing. So you put your bead. If you're using 2 beads, just make sure that the last bead you tie the thread around it just like so, and then that's it. Then you can cut it off, like the excess thread, you can cut that off, and then you have your beautiful African threading sun cap, as beautiful as it can be. So on how to easily insert the beads, you can use bobby pins. Just put your thread in the middle and then wrap it around it. Then you use the bobby pin to pick up your beads, and then you put it up onto your hair, and there you have it. That's how I was able to easily put on my beads. Okay, and then you wrap it around just like before, and then you tie the knot around it. There you have it, as beautiful as your African threading some gaps can be. So I had this hairstyle on for 2 weeks or up to 3 weeks. Yeah, I think 2 weeks and some days, and I really liked it because it was so light on my head. I could move around, do anything, and not worry about what's on my head. I just have to moisturize it, and that's it. And then I go anywhere without having to start combing or being afraid of my hair breaking. With this, you can be rest assured that your hair is safe and it's not gonna break. So I decided to just use some oil and just put it on the lines and then massage it in, because massaging my hair is one of my favorite things to do. So once it's wash day or when I'm making my hair, when I'm styling it, I make sure that I do not skip this process. Yeah, because that's the highlight. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's just the end process, and I tried putting it in some styles here. Yeah, so I did that. I could wear it the previous one, or I could do it like this, put it in shuku like we call it in Nigeria, and then the front parts, that's it. Ashe. I think this was the third day or so, because really it's been a while, so I can't really remember. Yeah, this video is long overdue. I also have another one I made before this one, but I just haven't been able to edit or even put it up here. But yeah, I should expect that soon, or maybe when I make something else, I could just decide not to post that and post the other one instead. So that's just the end result, and I hope you enjoyed today's video.